welcome to the Passenger Seat Podcast, a podcast designed to fill your passenger seat with chat about classic cars, all recorded from my 1968 Morris Minor Peggy, usually. But today you might notice that I'm in a slightly different interior, and you might notice a slightly different engine sound, as today I am in Miranda the Morris Minor, the MMOC's charity car for the year, and I'm currently leaving the Thorsby Morris Fest that's run by the Morris Register, and we have had Miranda here all weekend with the young members, doing some sterling work, raising some money for Miranda. So today is a bit of a two-parter really. We're going to tell you all about the difficulties and excitement of trying to get to Morris Fest for us this year, and then also a little bit about Miranda herself, so that you can follow her travels, follow what she's been up to, and also perhaps make a little donation to the fantastic cause that is Marie Curie. So, we received Miranda on Thursday night, of last week. She had just had a little stint with Practical Classics, and before that had been with the Lincolnshire branch and had a nice little trip to Skegness. The whole idea of Miranda is that she travels around the country, spending a bit of time with different branches and different individuals who are interested in having her to fundraise for Marie Curie. This is all part of the 75th anniversary celebrations. The Morris Minor is celebrating 75 years this year, and so is Marie Curie. So we have wrapped this car with some fantastic designs, all inspired by Marie Curie and the hard work that both Marie Curie and the Morris Minor itself will be doing throughout the year. And it's all designed to be an eye-catching, unusual Morris Minor that will not only be at home at Morris Minor events, but also at lots of other events. So for example, where I'm taking her to now is Rugby Services, where she'll be handed over to somebody from the Bristol branch of Morris Minors, who will take her to a balloon festival. And then after that she'll be off up to the Northern Regional Rally. She's going to do the Roses Run. She's had lots of stuff on this year, and lots more to go. And so we had booked this weekend for the young members to have her, because as you know, if you're a long time listener of the podcast, we love coming along to Morris Fest at Thorsby. It's a fantastic event. We love being able to have a nice camping area, be able to spend some time with each other over the weekend. It's really nice because it's not long after National, so any newcomers who enjoyed National and are looking for something not too far away to get back with all of their new friends, it works really well for that as well. And also it's usually a fantastically fun weekend, so we knew we'd be coming along to this and it'd be a fantastic opportunity for us to bring Miranda along and do some good work for fundraising. So she got dropped off at mine on Thursday, and went through everything, made sure that all of the fundraising stuff was in here, everything was okay, tidied her up a little bit, and then packed up Peggy to bring along all of our kind of camping stuff as well. So Jamie was going to be driving Peggy and I was going to be driving Miranda, because the fantastic thing about Miranda and the way that she's insured is that any MMOC member who is over the age of 25 can drive her, but also if you're under the age of 25, with enough notice, FJ are really good about getting them added on so that they can make use of this fantastic opportunity as well. So I was driving her, Peggy was going to come along with all of our camping gear, and then obviously we'd have a way of getting back from dropping her off at Rugby Services. However, Friday morning comes along, we're due to meet Harry and Tom, at Peterborough services, and then head on up to Thoresby. We get to Peterborough services, Harry and Tom arrive, and then we pull onto the A1, and Peggy's not right. We've got walkie-talkies in the cars, and I get a message that she's not right. I'm leaving the convoy in Miranda, so I pull into the very next services, which is thankfully not too far along. We pull in, we do quite a lot of investigation work. My mum and dad and my sister, who thankfully weren't too far away because we hadn't got too far away, come up and bring some other things for us to do, some testing and some switching over. And at the minute it seems like Peggy has blown a head gasket, or something's not right with her valves in third and fourth. So unfortunately Peggy had to go back home. And we switched over all of our gear into our little modern so that Jamie could follow us up. Myself in Miranda and Harry and Tom, we stormed on because Friday night at Thoresby is the curry night, and we wanted to make sure that our order was in and that we'd paid up so that we were sure to have curry once Jamie got there. I was able to put the tent up as quickly as possible, so I was able to put the tent up and get ourselves a little bit sorted, and Jamie arrived just in time thanks to some help from my mum and dad switching the stuff over to get to curry night, to have a fantastic weekend with us at Morris Fest. The curries were delivered, and it's always nice that we get a little takeaway on the Friday night in the marquee with everyone else and get to have a bit of fun chatting and getting to know some people, and also enjoying a fantastic curry. We then headed back to our camp to finish off sorting out, getting ourselves all nicely set up, and sat round chatting. Yayan and Tash had pulled in just behind us as we'd arrived, so it all worked out quite well on the timing front, even if we were a little bit later than we'd planned. Unfortunately, the weather was not in our favour this year, and while Saturday is usually filled with a fantastic road run and also a gymkhana in the afternoon, these were rained off for us. People did go out on the road run, but we decided that we would stay. A few people popped out to get some bits and bobs that we needed, and the rest of us stayed doing some fantastic fundraising just inside the marquee, which was a place that was in high demand on the Saturday due to quite a lot of rain, and that meant that all the grass was all wet and didn't really want churning up with the gymkhana. So it was quite a long day of chatting to people and telling them about Miranda and all she does, and also catching up with a few old friends that we've made over the years of coming to this fantastic event. We did a pretty decent job of fundraising and wrapped up about 3 o'clock. We took a few group photos and then decided to head off to the pub. We took a couple of cars there, had a really lovely meal at this pub that we found, and also then swapped a few cars on the way home. So Harry was able to have a go at driving Miranda on the way home. He had Nathaniel, who had joined us that day, coming along for a ride. Yayan and Tash had taken in Elliot within Patch and Touch, and I had a go of driving Harry's Mabel, which was quite interesting because engine-wise it has quite a lot of similar modifications to Peggy, but it still has the standard gearbox, so that made quite an interesting comparison for me, because I found driving Miranda quite interesting as well. Being a slightly earlier car than Peggy, it's been kind of spot the difference on a few of the dials. I've been enjoying a long distance drive, my first long distance drive really, in a car that is pretty much standard, and getting to grips with some of the differences that promotes. So it's been a really interesting weekend for me in terms of driving this, driving Mabel, and really getting an idea of how other people have their Morrises set up. Once back from the pub, we all clambered into our tent because it was still pretty drizzly and rainy, and our bell tent offers quite a nice large space for everyone to sit round, and we played some card games and of course some top trumps, which unfortunately Yayan seems to have pretty good streak of beating me at. Sunday, and it's the main show day at Thorsby, and the weather is so much better, and it's really the way that you want it to be. It makes for a fantastic day in the sun, looking at all the cars. We had Miranda out on display, drawing in quite a lot of interest. It was fantastic to talk to people about the process of the wrap, the process that she's going through the year to get all of the fundraising done, and how well she's done so far. So I believe she's sitting at the moment at around £5,000, which is fantastic. And I will leave the details in the subscription box below if you would like to make a donation to Miranda through her Just Giving page and help add to the total that the MMOC has made for Marie Curie this year, and also over the years, because they're now hitting over £100,000 over the years made for Marie Curie with various different charity cars, in which Miranda is the next in a kind of long line of. So again, it was a fantastic day of standing and chatting to people. We swapped out a couple of times so that we had the opportunity to walk around some of the beautiful cars on display, and really the Morris Register event is just fantastic for just having such a variety of cars, some really gorgeous examples, and the Morris 8s are always very close to my heart. And I also had the opportunity to meet some fantastic people, including a young woman who is restoring a Morris and has been kind of working through it all, and even went as far as winning a prize in the restoration class this year, which is fantastic. Great to see, and it's always a tricky one getting young people into the pre-war Morrises, or any pre-war cars. So that was great to see, and that's another reason why it's nice to bring the young members along, because they often get the opportunity to talk to some of the members of the older cars and find out what it's like to own one of them, what it's like to drive one of them, like I did last year with Billy the Bullnose. And that's what's going to get people interested in perhaps owning one of them when they want to extend their fleet. We had quite a lot of fun with our fundraising today. They had the colliery brand as always playing, so it was nice to do a little dance with some of the bits and pieces that we had to give away, and we were able to do quite a good job. I don't know the total yet. I'm going to have to take the little pot of money and count that all up and add that to the Just Giving as well, and I'm sure we've done quite competitively, I think, compared to some other branches, but some branches have done some fantastic work, which is always really, really important. Being beautiful weather, we left the tent up to dry, and when it started to cloud over, we did have to make a run for it to try and get it down, but thankfully it stayed dry all day, and we had a fantastic time in the sun, as you can probably tell from my face. And then it was time for the prize giving and time to start heading home. We had Yayan and Tasha, who had to head back to North Wales, Harry and Tom, who had to head back to Essex, Nathaniel, who had to head up to Northumberland, and Elliot and his parents, who had come from Chesterfield, and Bradley, who had come from Northampton. So quite a good showing, but it would be fantastic to get a few more young members to this great event in future. And of course, whilst this event is usually quite a close to home one for me, only just over an hour up the A1, it's a little bit diverted this time, and so we'll be heading home and hopefully getting home not too late tonight, but enjoying quite a nice last drive in Miranda regardless. So like I said, we always have such a fantastic time at the Morris Register event. it's been quite a different one this year. Not having my own car there meant that I was completely focused on getting Miranda to her full potential with the crowds, and also it being so wet and so many of the features that we're used to enjoying being put off meant that we had to kind of adapt and try something new. But regardless, it was so much fun, and I'm really looking forward to next year. And I think these camping weekends for the young members is definitely the way to go, because it definitely gives us a fantastic way of spending a good chunk of time together and encouraging people to come from further distances for a longer period of time. So I think I've probably got about an hour left of my journey to rugby services, and an hour left enjoying the wonderful Miranda. There are still some weekends available in September and October. You can find out what those are on her website. She's got a diary, and that's always kept up to date. So if you've got an event then that you would like to do some fantastic fundraising with this very unique and unusual car, and very eye-catching car, then you can get in touch via the website or the Miranda email that's published in copies of Minor Matters. It is obviously only open to MMOC members because of the insurance with her. But if you do see her at an event, be sure to make a donation. You can buy some very lovely rally plaques, and you can buy some key rings, and also all the usual Marie Curie bits and bobs are all stashed in the back, as you can probably see on the camera. But that's been our weekend. I've now got to head home, and once we've done the handover, Jamie will be probably driving that last leg back home, and I'll have to make a phone call to my dad to talk about what the action plan is going forward with getting Peggy back on the road, because I've still got quite a few things for this summer to get done, and I'd love to have her back up and running as soon as possible. So hopefully it's a simple and easy fix. So have your fingers crossed for me, and I'll be keeping you all updated both on here and on my social media. So make sure you're subscribed or following on all of the various channels and whatever podcasting platform you listen on. Thank you ever so much for listening. I hope you've had a fantastic weekend, whatever you got up to, and in the meantime, drive safely and happy motoring.